Hello, my name's Alex, and today I'm going to teach you the 8 pillars of true sustainable weight loss. Full disclosure, guys, if you are looking for a quick fix, a fad diet gimmick, please switch this off. This is not for you, and that is certainly not what I'm all about. Secondly, this is not a sales pitch. This is about me giving back, genuinely giving back, because I have been there myself, and I want you guys to learn some of the things that are so important if you really want this weight loss to last. And on that note, if you are serious about losing this weight for good, click that button below and take the first step to finally losing this weight for good. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So I have prepared a little slideshow for you here, guys. That's me. And these are the 8 pillars to true sustainable weight loss. Firstly, guys, my background, my story. Well, I am not somebody who would walk past a gym and wake up with a six-pack. I have had my own struggles all through my teenage years and childhood. At 15 years of age, I was 15 stone. I was badly bullied, and I was really, really low in confidence, low in self-esteem. And I mean, it spilled over into every area of my life, but I decided enough was enough, and I decided to lose the weight, and I lost 4 stone in a year, and that just sparked a fire inside me. A fire inside me to make this my career, a fire inside me to be able to help other people who have went through similar struggles. So I decided to go on and do 4 degrees up to a master's level, all based around nutrition, exercise, and behavior change. I have worked with professional athletes all over the world. I've worked in the NHS, but to be honest with you, I get much more enjoyment about helping regular people live longer and feel less self-conscious in how they look, rather than helping any athlete. And for that reason, that's why I've made this my life mission. My life mission is to help 1 million people live longer and feel less self-conscious in how they look. Okay, so let's flip through. That's my background in a nutshell. I'm also a dietitian, hence the name. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but nutritionist, anyone can call themselves a nutritionist after a 4-week course. As a dietitian, I had to do 6 years in university to be able to be well qualified in the world of therapeutic nutrition, so you can be 100% confident everything you hear from me is legit, everything you hear from me is evidence-based. If you look through the Healthcare Professionals Council or the HCPC, you type my second name, which is Neilin, N-E-I-L-A-N, and you type dietitian, you can see my face there, or at least my name, to show you that I'm actually registered with a governing body. So let's dive right into it. The first one, avoid the fad diet traps. Yes, avoid the fad diets. Guys, I hate them, and I'm so passionate about this. And the reason is they're not sustainable. They're not sustainable. You can't maintain them. So why start it? That is how I look at it. So the first one is intermittent fasting, guys. This is very, very popular. People fast for a certain amount of hours of the day, and they eat for another period of the day. The problem I have with this is that, firstly, I don't genuinely believe it's sustainable. I mean, are you telling me at 90 years of age, you're going to ask your grandson to do it with you, or your granddaughter? If you're not going to ask your kids or grandchildren to do it, why do it yourself? If it's not going to fit in with the social aspects of eating, the cultural aspects of food, which we all love and enjoy, why do it to yourself? Secondly, in terms of muscle mass retention, we are either in a catabolic state or in an anabolic state. Catabolic state means that we're breaking down muscle. Anabolic state means we're building it up. Whenever we're fasting, we're actually breaking down muscle. So the key to maintaining a lean physique is maximizing the muscle mass you have on your frame, or at least maintaining the muscle that you currently have. So if you're fasting for long periods of time, it's a hell of a lot likely that that's going to happen. No carbs after 6. Another myth that I want to completely hammer down and break. So guys, how would this work if you're a nurse working nights? Explain that to me. No carbs after 6 is, yes, a myth. Your body does not go into fat burning or fat storing mode as soon as you hit 6 p.m. and you have carbs. It does not store the energy that you eat after 6 p.m. This is a very, very common myth as well. So what I've noticed is some people can indirectly see results by doing this, by curbing their eating to before 6 p.m. But the only reason they're getting results is because they're indirectly reducing the calorie intake. They're indirectly reducing the amount of food they're eating. And it's not that they've decided to just, well, the body goes mad after 6 p.m. and says, you know what, I'm going to store all the fat. So, guys, please bear that in mind. Don't deprive yourself. I have my last meal right before I go to bed to ensure I maximize my sleep, I maximize my immunity, I recover while I sleep. And that way, I'm minimizing that period of when I'm in a catabolic state, which is when we're breaking down muscle mass, which I mentioned previously is really important if you want to maintain a lean physique. Basically, the more muscle mass you can have in your frame, the more you can eat before you start storing body fat. And let's face it, that's the dream, isn't it? And I'm not saying I want you guys to turn out like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not going to happen. Not possible unless you start taking steroids. And trust me, you're never going to hear me recommending them. But if you can maintain some muscle tone on your body, it means that you're able to eat a little bit more and maintain a leaner and healthier physique. So the ketogenic diet, guys, is when we have no carbs, when we live off dietary fat and we live off protein. Negatives of this, really, really bad breath. Negatives of this, it means that we're completely carbohydrate depleted, which means we're at a greater risk of injury. We're at a greater risk of getting sick. We're at a greater risk of overreaching, which is a short-term version of overtraining, so you're less likely to recover for your next session. It also means that's really bad for your heart. If you fill up on high-fat foods or high foods in saturated fat, well, that is going to lead to a buildup of atherosclerotic plaque in your arteries, which means that you're more likely to get a heart attack or, of course, have high blood pressure. So, guys, I really, really discourage this one. In fact, this entire diet is built around one study in the 1980s where there was five subjects, in which one subject had increased fat oxidation. The theory behind it, if you eat fat, your body has to use fat as fuel. That one subject who's only seen results for 24 hours, after which he went right back to normal. So the entire diet is based on one study in the 1980s of 5 people in which only one person has seen results that only lasted 24 hours. So again, why this is massively a myth and not something I want you guys to be diving into. HIIT training burns more than fat. Okay, this is a common myth, and let me explain. So HIIT training is really, really popular, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of it for various reasons. One, it means that you can get a lot of exercise done in a short period of time. So if you're somebody who is not rich in time, it's very, very popular and it's very, very useful. However, HIIT training shouldn't be done more than 3 times a week because of the risk of injury, because it is such a high intensity form of exercise. In fact, athletes 3 times a week, regular people twice a week. Okay, guys, really, really important. So doing a fat burn class in a gym 6 days a week is not good for your joints and will eventually lead to injury. Please, please, please take that seriously. The reason HIIT training has become so popular is because of the afterburn effect. The afterburn effect, the effect that our body has after we've done HIIT training, that we keep burning calories for hours and days after we finish the session. Okay, guys, that theory is blown way out of proportion. There is some truth in it. For 2 hours after you finish the session, yes, your body will be burning off more calories. Yes, that is true. However, the degree and the extent of this increase of calorie expenditure is between 6 to 15% of what you normally would have burnt off anyway. Okay, of what you normally would have burnt off anyway. So if you're going to ask me what's more effective to reduce body fat, doing 5 30-second sprints, or doing 20 minutes to half an hour of a jog, of a run, of a cycle or cross trainer, the steady state exercise will win 6 days a week and twice on a Sunday. Okay, so please bear that in mind. The overall energy expenditure would be so much greater if you did steady state cardio where you never stop for 20 minutes or half an hour, as opposed to doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 5 minutes. So please do bear that in mind. Case studies. These are people that I've previously helped. See if you can recognize that person on the left. Yes, that is me. And this is my story. So that is when I struggled with my own weight, my own transformation. Very, very low in body confidence, like I mentioned. And I was just really unhappy, and I put on a front. I made out like I was this guy who was like full of confidence, didn't care about my weight. I put on a mask. I put on a mask, and it was a means of me kind of protecting myself, protecting myself. And finally, when I got the courage, I think somebody called me fat boy, not slim. Fred, fat and red, and I laugh at it now, but at the time, obviously, it cut me very deep. But it did encourage me. It encouraged me to lose the weight. And you can see here, I've got a six pack, but that is not something that everybody wants. But I became very passionate about doing it. I became very passionate about wanting to look leaner and feeling happier in how I looked, because I know if I feel happier in how I look, I carry myself better. And it's not vanity. It means that I'm more confident in interviews. I'm more confident when I'm speaking. You have more self-belief. You have more self-belief. And people often forget that how you view yourself, how you portray yourself, they're very much connected. So if you view yourself as someone who is healthy, happy, then you can't help but spill that over into your relationships, into your job interviews, into any social interaction that you have. Okay, next person, Margarita. Margarita, oh my God, this girl, what an absolute legend. So Margarita will not mind me sharing this because she shared it herself in my Google reviews. She suffered from PCOS. She suffered from depression, from feeling low, from feeling down. And she kind of had a lot of disbelief that it would work. And people often fall back onto certain limitations and excuses as to why they can't see results. However, it's my responsibility to always tell it to you straight. To always tell it to you straight. I will always acknowledge your limitations, but I will never accept them. I will never accept them. So PCOS, yes, made it a little bit more challenging for Margarita, but it did not stop us. As you can see, the unbelievable transformation she has here in terms of what she's done to her confidence, her smile, and even her overall happiness. Like, it's so rewarding. So rewarding. On the right-hand side, we've got Judith. I've actually spoke to Judith on the phone today. She has lost 4 stone. 4 stone. She is a different person. And when she lost that weight, she got the courage to quit her job that she hated. She was working 12 hours a day. They were taking advantage of her. And she just said, you know what, screw that. And she had the confidence to leave. If you have the confidence in yourself and if you achieve something great, you're going to want to keep achieving more, and you won't put up with, excuse my French, shit from anybody, because you'll have that self-worth. You'll have that self-worth, and she is continuing to progress. She wants to lose another 2 stone. She literally says, you know what, I want to raise the bar. Each their own. Whatever makes you happy. Your goals are yours, and no one can tell you what's too much or too little. It's about what makes you happy. What makes you happy. Okay, second pillar. Enjoying your food and avoiding hunger. Life is too short. Life is too short to live a life when you're hungry. It's too short for that. Screw that. I'm a massive foodie. I love eating. I'd eat nothing else but food. And avoid hunger. Because, guys, if you live a life being hungry, that's just not a quality of life. So the ways we do this is we, first of all, decide what do I like to eat? What do I not like to eat? And I'm going to explain right now why I don't eat avocados. And as a dietitian, everyone says, how can you not eat avocados? I don't eat avocados because I don't like them. Because I don't like them. I remember eating a tub of cottage cheese a few years ago because, oh, it's good for you. You have to eat it. It's a health food. It's a bodybuilding food. And I just said, screw that, because I hated it. I don't want you to force anything down that you don't like. Okay? And if you like avocados, okay, no disrespect, good for you. Not my cup of tea. So you cannot try and make a sustainable change if you have to eat something under sufferance. If you do anything when you feel like you need discipline or you need willpower, and they are 2 of the biggest myths in the fitness industry and the world of health. Because if you're doing it under sufferance or you're relying on discipline, discipline will always buckle under your environment. Whether it be your external environment of your mother or father or your brother and sister being feeders or having huge portions, or living or surrounding your job around food, or if you're a chef, for example, or internal environment as in, well, you hate the food. If you hate it, you're not going to stick with it. So if you don't like it, don't eat it. Screw chicken and broccoli. For those of you who like chicken and broccoli, again, no offense, I do actually enjoy it, but we need to have variety. We need to have variability. We need to have flavor. We need to enjoy food for social reasons, for lots of other different reasons. It is not something that we should simply do under sufferance. Okay, so don't live in Tupperware. Don't live in Tupperware. You can do this by still enjoying regular meals like curries, regular meals like chili con carnes. You don't have to do it under sufferance. And that's really, really important, guys. If I was an optician, I wouldn't give you my glasses. Exactly. It has to be tailored and personalized to the person. You can't just have a one size fits all. It does not work. It has to be individualized to the culture, to whether or not you're vegetarian or vegan, to whether you enjoy the food or not. It has to work for you and your family. And if it's about sustainability, do you think that it's actually accurate of me to say, right, I want you to eat separately from your kids and your partner for the rest of your life? No chance. Not sustainable. Fiber. This is a cracking way, guys, to really, really avoid that hunger as well. So fiber helps improve satiety or feelings of satiation, and that's how full we are when we eat. So guys, foods that are high in fiber, think of whole grains, fruit, vegetables, really powerful and works through food displacement. If you fill up on high fibrous foods, it means you're less likely to be over hungry and you're less likely to turn to other dishes. You're less likely to overeat, so fiber, I cannot recommend it enough. Food displacement. I got ahead of myself. Exactly. This is about using a means of filling up on lower calorie foods to ensure that you're less likely to go for higher calorie foods. If you try and have 6 or 7 portions of fruit or veg a day, that's a huge amount, right? Because you're less likely to snack on other things because you've filled up on foods that are genuinely low in calories. So think about that for a moment. Food displacement. What can I fill up on that's going to actually minimize my risk of eating a high calorie food? I'm going to move my little circle around the place here. So staying hydrated, guys. So yes, water, fluid, really important. Speaking of which, I'm going to have a mouthful here. Really important, guys, because oftentimes in life what we do is we actually mistake thirst for hunger. We think we're hungry when we're actually thirsty. Trying to have between 3.5 and 4 liters a day, if you manage that, that would be a huge step forward. Obviously, it's individualized. Obviously, we need a different amount of fluid depending on your sex, your age, your sport, your activity levels. And again, your climate, how hot it is outside, for example. But staying hydrated is key, and no, tea and coffee are not the devil. And yes, tea and coffee do count towards your fluid. However, with coffee, espressos, I would discourage counting that towards your fluid because of the lack of volume, and caffeine does have a mild diuretic effect. So I would recommend not counting your espressos. But regular coffee, yes, it can have a small diuretic effect, but because of the volume of the fluid, it does count towards your daily fluid allowance. More case studies. Have any of you ever said, I'm too old for that? Or have any of you ever said, well, it's to be expected at my age? Or have you heard someone say to you, well, what are you going to expect after you've hit the menopause or after you've hit 50? These are not limitations I'm willing to accept. And Alan here is a perfect example. 8 weeks, has a six pack, and he's 65 years of age right now as we speak. 65 years of age as we speak. Do you know what? You can achieve anything if you have the right tools to do it. Age is not going to be an excuse. It really isn't. Danielle, this story literally brings a tear to my eye. When I first met Danielle, she was on minimum wage living with her mum. She had low confidence and she hated her job. After she lost the weight, and look at her now, she looks incredible. She got the courage. She got the courage to change. She got the courage to change everything. She got out of a relationship she wasn't happy in. She got the courage to quit her job, and she now works in finance and now has bought her own flat. So when you start to overachieve in one aspect of your life, like your health, your fitness, your body confidence, well, it spills over into every area of your life, and I cannot emphasize that enough. On my right hand side, Tina, 8 weeks. Look at that for a transformation. Massive, massive differences to her midsection, much more confident in what she's wearing. She was someone who at the start was a little bit skeptical, thinking, well, how is this different than anything else? Or there's so many scams out there on the internet. The bad coaches you've had in the past, in my opinion, are the tuition you pay for finding the right ones. If you have car crash syndrome in the fact that something bad has happened to you in the past, well, you're never going to not get back into a car. You're going to have to get back into a car eventually. And if you've been stung by someone in the past who perhaps hasn't been worth his salt, or perhaps just didn't have the qualifications, well, that should not stop you from achieving more. That should not stop you from being able to move past it. Because sometimes you need to, well, step out of your comfort zone, and it takes courage to do that, but your body and your brain will fight to keep you in your comfort zone. But it just takes that first step. Convenience, the third pillar. I love this photograph. I love it. So if you're a mother like this, or if you're a father like this, and you've got 2 or 3 kids hitting all over the place, do you think it's realistic for me to ask you to spend 3 hours a day chopping and wrestling with the butternut squash? Absolutely not. I don't know how many peelers I've broken on those things. So it has to be something that's convenient. I mean, I've worked with people who have been, well, worked very high up or had their own businesses, have worked 10, 12-hour days, had to travel to the States and the UK every second week. And do you think if I tell them they have to do 3 hours of food prep every day, that's going to be realistic? Absolutely not. Some of my clients work through Tesco Expresses. That's to get their foods, or M&S. It has to be convenient. It has to fit in with your family. It has to fit in with other commitments in your life. A nutrition plan or a training program cannot take over your life. It has to integrate with it. I don't want someone to say to me, I'm committed. I don't want someone to say to me, I'm really motivated and I'm going to be disciplined. I want them to say, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you when some things that you're asking me to do don't work for my life. And if you do that, you're 3/4 of the way there. Honesty is everything. Traveling, here's an example. So as I mentioned, one of my clients, CEO for a very big company, traveled to the States every 2 weeks. It had to be built around his, well, schedule. The fact that he was traveling back and forth all the time, that is really, really important to take into account. So, for example, for him, what we did was we planned from when he left the house to when he returned. What we did was we made sure that he ate just before he leaves, and he ate as soon as he comes in. That minimizes the hours in his day that he has to eat while outside traveling. For example, by eating just before he leaves the house, that gives him a 3-hour window before he has to eat again. By eating as soon as he comes in at night time, that gave him a 3-hour window just before that in which he never had to eat because he knew he was getting food as soon as he arrives home. So straight away, I've reduced his window for a need to eat while traveling by 6 hours during that day. And then when he was traveling, depending on whether it was a plane, train, automobile, we planned different tactics for each. Tin foil can keep food hot for a long time. Wrap it in a Tupperware if you need to, or in a cooler bag. Reheat last night's leftovers. You can bring it with you. Have it in the car. I would always make sure in M&S I would have one of their, well, spinach wraps, or I would have something like prawns. I would have a sandwich, or a fruit. There's loads of foods you can get there, and you don't have to be living off salads all the time either. You don't have to live off salads all the time either. Okay, guys? You can be tactful in terms of when you choose certain foods around training times and around certain days of the week that you can make it work. Okay? We don't have hours to cook. And when have got lots of things on our plate, excuse the pun, we really don't have hours to cook. We have to make sure it's something that doesn't take up a massive amount of our time. I buy pre-chopped veg. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but have you ever put a price tag on your time? Have you put a price tag on stress, or the stress of being late? Pre-chopped veg cuts my food prep time in half. It's absolutely huge. I try and use and make meals that I can put it all onto a baking tray, shove it in the oven. I can do my showers. Showers, how many do I have? I can go for a shower. I can go train. I can do things while the food is preparing itself with minimal prep time needed. Okay. If you like cooking, cook. By all means, I love to cook, but some people don't have time. So having that balance of when you have days when you do like to cook and do want to bake, or you do want to make a big meal or a curry, or you want to make something for the family or a roast dinner, brilliant, do it. But you don't have to fall back on a false need of having to cook 2-3 hours a day. It's not needed. Flavored milk. So, flavored milk is a magic potion for athletes because it provides sodium for rehydration, carbohydrate for the replenishment of your glycogen stores, which is the energy in your muscles, and also protein for recovery and muscle growth as well. Flavored milk is a great recovery meal after you've trained, come back from the gym. It's cheap. It's not a posh protein powder that costs an arm and a leg as well. Get it in Sainsbury's, Tesco for £1. However, it can be quite calorific, so control your portion sizes, okay? Control your portion sizes. We can't spend our lives counting grains of rice. We can't spend our lives counting grains of rice. Guys, yes, weighing our food can be really powerful in terms of increasing our awareness of portion sizes, increasing our awareness of whether or not we're eating too much. Okay? However, my job is not to have you weighing food when you're 80 or 90 years of age. My job is to teach you to be able to intuitively eat and eat with your eye, using your hands, for example. A palm for the protein, a hand for the pasta or potatoes, 2 hands for vegetables, a thumb for fat like olive oil, nuts. But to be honest with you, there's dietary fat in everything from oats to chicken breast. So the need to add dietary fat to your food, I don't think it's there. And yes, there are good fats out there. And trust me, I understand the benefits. But what are the downsides of you moving into a calorie surplus when you're eating a little bit too much because you're actively including dietary fat unnecessarily? And then you move into a calorie surplus, which means you're eating more calories than you need to maintain your weight. And then you gain body fat. And if you add months and you add years to that and you add time to it, it can really put you in a tough place. Body confidence wise, health wise. And guys, I'll tell you something for nothing. If you're saying to me right now, you have not got time, you've not got time to exercise, you've not got time to eat healthily. Well, if you've not got time for health, you better make time for illness because it's coming. Because it's coming. We've all got 24 hours in the day. Barack Obama used to do 45 minutes of training every single day. It's about making the time, putting yourself first. Putting yourself first. If I ask you a really honest question, when was the last time you put yourself first? If you've got other responsibilities, how many times have you said yes to other people but said no to doing things that you feel are good for you? You can't pour from an empty vessel. Sometimes we have to attend to our own oxygen masks first so we can help other people. And more often than not, one of the biggest things holding people back is they struggle to put themselves first. And it's my job to break that thought pattern in you. Because if I ask you the question, do you deserve to be happy? Do you deserve to feel better in how you look? Do you deserve to live longer? And I hope that answer is a no. Some more case studies, guys. Warren on the left-hand side, 8 weeks, 6-pack, business owner, works 65 hours a week. Unbelievable results. He came in to me and he said, what's his name? Alex, I know my own name. Alex, I want to look like Jason Statham. And you know what? He looks remarkably like him. I love it. I love it. I love it. This man had such a hunger, excuse the pun, for learning, such a knowledge. And if I can teach somebody the clinical understanding to why we're doing something, it means they're a hell of a lot more likely to do it. Because you don't just want to be given the how or said, do this. You want to be explained to you to why it's important to do it. Because if someone explains to you the reasoning behind it, if you understand the why, it means you're a hell of a lot more likely to stick with it. And Warren is a prime example of that. Jimmy from Edinburgh. Jimmy has lost 5 stone. He's lost 5 stone. Unbelievable results. Jimmy still has his pints on a Saturday night. Yes, we've controlled the portion sizes of them. And I'm not going to sit here with an Irish accent and pretend I don't drink, by the way. But Jimmy is somebody who has been open and honest. He's had obstacles. He's had the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh. I live in Edinburgh myself, so I totally get it. He's had that balance, though. He's built that balance around alcohol and that balance around actually just feeling happier in himself. He works in IT, so he's sitting down all day. So we need to find a way of moving him into a calorie deficit, which means eating and consuming less calories than what it takes to maintain his weight, but doing so in a sustainable way. A sustainable way. My picture has just disappeared. There we go, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. On the right hand side, we have Chris. This transformation is incredible. She didn't just want to lose body fat, she wanted to be stronger. She wanted to be stronger. She wanted to be able to have abs, as you can see coming through at the moment. She wanted to be able to be functional. She wanted to do this while having a family, while training at home, while having kids, while having other responsibilities. And it's my responsibility to show you that yes, it can be done. Yes, it can be done. Okay, guys, here you go. Don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself. So, I only had one glass of wine. So, here's a perfect example, guys, of, well, portion size is absolutely key. Portion size is absolutely key. And yes, I'm not going to pretend to you as an Irish person. There I am. I'm back. I'm back. That I don't enjoy a drink, okay? That I don't enjoy going to an Irish wedding, having alcohol. You need to have a balance. You can't become a hermit either. You can't become a hermit either. You have to have balance. You have to have balance. And if you feel like you're able to still do the things that you enjoy, well, why would you ever give it up? Why would you ever quit? You wouldn't. You'd stay with it. You'd stay with it. Meals out, eating out. If you live off Tupperware for the rest of your life and never have a nice Thai takeaway, well, God knows I wouldn't be happy. You need to be able to eat out and enjoy it and have family meals out as well. And we don't want to have them as a last minute impulse decision that you have guilt hanging over you. They have to be sustainable in the way that you have to not have them with guilt. It takes away all the goodness. If you plan it, if you allow for it, if you bank some calories earlier in the week, it means that having that meal out every Friday or Saturday is not going to inhibit your results. And hang on a minute now. Don't get me wrong. If you have double crust, cheese stuffed pizza, extra large with fries, full sugar Coke, yes, it's going to be very difficult to not undo all your hard work, but you can have a balance. You can have a balance. Thai takeaway is my game changer. As I said, plan your rewards. Plan your rewards. Look forward to them. Look forward to them. Earn them. Feel like you've earned them. Like I was on a stag there a few months ago, and to make the stag possible, I simply did extra cardio for 6 days coming up to it. I trained the morning of the flight. I changed my alcohol from pints to bourbon and Diet Coke. I had it in a pint glass with a lime to make people think I was, well, drinking alcohol, which I was, but occasionally I leave the bourbon out every second or third drink and just have a Diet Coke. If you have it in a pint glass with lots of ice, you're secretly getting water in without getting the slag in from the lads. But you're able to not finish the drink too quickly. And I would sneak off to a bottle of water in the shop midway through the day whenever I wanted to. I would go for food. I would have a cut-off point and I wouldn't have a drink past 10 p.m. at night because I didn't need to. And I increased my sense of awareness. And if you got better awareness, you're going to make better choices. But in order to have better awareness, you need to have better monitoring. So one more time, monitoring leads to better awareness, and better awareness leads to better choices, and better choices, well, leads to results. And while my degrees are important, they're not as important as the results that you get. The results, the outcome. Speaking of results, here we go. Here's Kat on the left-hand side. Kat lost 4 stone. Student lost 4 stone. Changed her life in terms of her confidence to meet somebody new. Changed her life in terms of being able to wear what she wanted to wear. She came to me and says, Alex, I want to be able to just wear what I want to wear, shop wherever, not have to worry about the sizes, and not have to worry about whether or not it'll fit me, and not have to worry about a shop assistant telling me that I can't get the size that fits, because that's soul destroying. And if you ask yourself, how many days have you thought about your weight? How many days have you been worrying about your weight, and how many years? What is the emotional investment? How much does that cost you emotionally to do that? How much does that cost you emotionally? And here is Elaine. Elaine is 52 and she looks fantastic. As you can see, big changes to her body composition, way more toned in terms of her arm, her shoulder, her core, shoulders. She's got 2 of them. So Elaine is amazingly bubbly and bright. If you see on my website, she does a video on my blog, just again explaining how she achieved it. Give it a click. Couldn't recommend it more. Margaret on the right-hand side. Margaret is 72. Margaret is 72, and look what she has achieved. Her midsection's gone down, her hips, her chest, her arms, and she's got a big smile as well. And she's even gained glasses over the transformation. So this just shows you guys, it doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter what stage in your life are, doesn't matter about hormones, PCOS, or you've got underactive thyroid. Yes, these are things that can stand in our way, but they're obstacles. And the first thing I would do is I would get all of the obstacles out on the table to build a clear plan, to build a roadmap, to allow for them, to account for them, to be proactive rather than reactive. So when they occur and when things pop up, that we're ready for it. We're truly ready for it. The secret the secret weapon, progressive overload. Here's a perfect example. This guy carrying a calf, then a young bullock, and then a bull. So by gradually lifting more, he became stronger because of it. So it was done progressively. The calf didn't turn into a bull overnight. Okay, this kind of makes sense. So guys, the same with your training. Secret weapon is literally progressive overload. If you go to the gym and you just get 10 reps done of the same weight all the time, your body's not, well, it's not being put in a position where it needs to change because it's used to lifting that weight, or it's used to doing 2 flights of stairs. Whether it be that you want to build muscle mass, or whether it be you want to cut body fat, or reduce your shortness of breath, or be able to tie your shoelaces every day without discomfort, or even not have to look at the chairs to see whether or not it's going to hold your weight, or whether you don't want to have to ask for an extender for your seatbelt, or whether you just simply want to feel a little bit better when you look in the mirror. Either way, we need to have a way of progressively overloading your body to force it to adapt. Whether it be cardiovascular exercise, whether it be weight training, either way, we need to do something to progress. And if we don't monitor what we're doing, we're not going to see results. One of the biggest myths in the gym is that keep the body guessing. If you keep the body guessing, the body's not going to know whether or not there's been more stimulus applied, which would lead to the need for change. Stimulus is what's required to again provide that adaptation. And for the adaptation to occur, we need to make sure that we've got adequate rest, adequate sleep, and of course, adequate nutrition. But here's an example of progressive overload in terms of muscular stress, and again over the number of weeks. So you wouldn't just do the same thing for 4 weeks, you would obviously progress it, and that is a game changer if you really want sustainable results. More results, case studies here, guys. Amelia, Greek. One of the things she taught me was ola kala, which means everything is going to be okay in Greek. I'll never forget it. Amelia works 11 hours. She works in labs. She can't bring foods into work. She's got long gaps without eating being forced by her career. But again, we problem solved. We got past it. And her results are just nothing short of truly, truly phenomenal. Deborah, 54, completely changed her midsection. Literally had been trying to lose weight for over 20 years. And now she's leading the pack. We've got an inner circle behavior change group, and Deborah is literally pulling others up. She's sharing her wins. She's done a testimonial video with me. She is just consistently achieving because her entire identity has changed. She is no longer somebody who wants to stay in at weekends and makes up excuses to not go places. And she's no longer somebody who feels distant from friends. She's now leaning in, saying yes to more things, saying yes, and just having more experiences, having the options and the opportunity to do more things, having freedom by not having that weight of worry about your weight or what you're going to wear falling down on you. Gabby, 8 weeks. Unbelievable results, dropped 11 kg, and Gabby has got 2 small children and a very, very busy lifestyle. It just shows you all of these people I've spoken about have had their own stories and their own obstacles, but yet the results can happen provided you're open and honest with me, provided you tell me the obstacles and then we can work around them. Because I'll tell you one thing, like Gabby's kids aren't going to go away. You know what I mean? These are real things that we have to integrate into our life. You know, like we we can't say no kids, Gabby, no kids, not while on this program. This program has to integrate in with your life, otherwise it ain't sustainable. Mindset, and I want to apologize for the swearing, but this picture, you need to have a swear word in there to fully appreciate it. When you absolutely feckin' refuse to give up. This is a kid doing taekwondo who's on a ventilator, and they're bringing the ventilator with him onto the mat. So there's always going to be reasons. There's always going to be reasons to why this is challenging. But there's women who pick cars off their kids. There's men with no legs who run marathons. There is ways around it. And your mindset is huge. Your mindset is absolutely huge if you really want this to be something that's truly sustainable, guys. One thing that I highly recommend is the 5-minute journal. Do I have one? Yes, I do. I got one here, one I prepared earlier. 5-minute journal looks at gratitude, positive affirmations, setting 3 wins for your day. That takes 2 minutes. That's your morning done. Evening time, the 3 biggest wins that you achieved in the day, and 2 things that would have made today even better. Not 2 bad things that happened, but 2 things that would have made today even better. That gives you clarity on your day. It gives you gratification for what you've achieved. It keeps you centered. It gives you clarity. I love the 5-minute journal. I could not recommend it more. Really powerful piece of kit. Don't tell people about your dreams, show them. Show them your achievements. Show them your achievements. Do you know what? Talk can be cheap. Actions always speak louder than words. Don't get me wrong. If there's people in your life who you feel are going to hold you back, like your partners, or don't fully understand, or think that, oh, here she goes, or here he goes, another fad, another gimmick, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Prove them wrong that yes, you can do it. Don't let someone else's expectations of you change your desire to want to change something in your life that's not making you happy. That's not making you happy. Because if you haven't got happiness, what have we got? What have we got? And speaking of happiness, these are the 4 pillars that I believe lead to it. Relationships, purpose, progress, and health. Relationships, our family, our friends, having people that we've got strong bonds with. Having a purpose, having a reason to get up in the morning, whether it be to put your kids through college, whether it be to just help your toddler advance as fast as you can, or whether it be to put food on the table, or whether it be to advance in your career, or be at your best in a sport, whatever it is, having a reason to get up in the morning is so important. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? Third one, progress, being able to see progress. If my clients never got results until the last week, I wouldn't have any clients. They have to get progress each and every week, because no matter what I say to you, nothing will motivate you more than you seeing results, than you seeing weekly progress. Like energy levels in my clients go up within 48 hours, weight loss occurs within 5. You need to see progress. You need to see results. You need to see the needle moving forward. And the 4th one is health. The 4th one is health. If you don't have your health, we don't have anything. And this is a weird thing to say, but I believe health becomes before family, because if you haven't got your health, you can't be there for your family. If you haven't got your health, what happens if something happens to you before your parents die? Who's going to look after them? Who's going to visit them in the home if something bad happens to you with diabetes, cancer, heart disease? Like, yes, there's no guarantees in life. And yes, you could be hit by a bus in the morning. But isn't it more important to stack the odds in your favor? Isn't it more important to minimize the risk of something bad happening? Isn't it more important to see your grandkids grow up? Sometimes it takes me asking tough questions like that to encourage someone to take action and step away from your comfort zone. Your why, your reason why. So you need to have a strong why if you really want this to be sustainable, guys. There has to be a strong reason to why you're doing this. There has to be a very strong reason. So my why is because I do what I do, and I love what I do, by the way, and I hope that comes across, because I get a huge sense of reward from hearing all of the success stories from the people that I help, from getting out of abusive relationships, to quitting their jobs that they hate, to even conceiving for the first time because I had a lady who lost enough weight to be able to conceive. That is worth so much more than me knocking a half second off an athlete's lap, in my opinion. That is the big picture. That's the real reward. That is the big picture. Quality of life. Your why. Find your reason why. Ask yourself, if I want to lose the weight, why do I want to lose it? Why do I want to lose it? Is it to get back into a dress? Fine, perfectly fine. Or is it to get closer to your husband or to your wife by being more confident in terms of being intimate? Is it to be able to not get out of breath every time you try and play with your grandkids? Is it to be able to have the confidence to walk in and quit your job and walk into another interview assertively? Is it to be able to have the confidence of when you're telling your team what you want them to do, you feel a massive sense of self-worth behind you? Is it about having more energy so every day isn't a chore? Or what should be an easy task turns into a chore because your energy levels are low? I mean, are you falling asleep on the couch at the time at night when you're meant to be spending time with your family? Are you finding yourself a little less focused at work? Energy levels is one of the things that are massively, massively not blown all over Instagram because it's not as pretty to say, oh my God, I am so much more energized than it is to see a six pack on a before and after picture. Your energy is going to drive your motivation. Your energy is massively correlated with your quality of life. And that's why it's so important to have it. And what affects your energy? Your sleep patterns, your training regimen, and of course, most importantly, your nutrition, your food. Massively, massively impacts your energy levels. The dangers of positive self-talk. This is controversial. Guys, one of the most dangerous things you're going to say to yourself is, I know how to lose the weight. It's okay. I know how to lose it. I've lost it before. I know how to lose it. I'm not that big. There's people out there a lot bigger than me. I mean, I don't get depressed over it. Like, yes, I don't look like looking in the mirror, but I don't get depressed over it. There's people out there way worse off. What these little mental cues are doing is they're indirectly, subconsciously minimizing the need for change. They're reducing the necessity of the problem. They're belittling it. And it means that all of a sudden a month becomes a year becomes a decade, and you've pushed this so far down the line of your list of priorities, then it becomes something that really needs to change. But because obesity and being overweight and being unhappy in how you look and how you feel in your own skin isn't like a sledgehammer in the face, it happens gradually. It happens really, really gradually. So that's the dangerous part. And when we use positive self-talk, or if we start to say things like, oh, I've got to this age now, it's expected, or it's the menopause, this always happens, or I've got a dad bod because I've got other things that are more important in life. All of these things are mechanisms that we use to fight for our limitations. And I'll tell you one thing, guys, if you fight for your limitations, you're going to get to keep them. So be very careful what methods of self-talk you're using, because that could be something that's genuinely causing you to put this off. And for how long have we put things off? How long has this been not a priority? More case studies. Sam, MMA fighter, professional MMA fighter, six-pack, 4 weeks. Not everybody's cup of tea, but some people want to look like that. Go for it. 100% shows massive high achievement in terms of him being able to make changes to what he's currently doing to give him the physique to be an athlete performing at his best. Very different. Kirsten in the middle. Single parent. Mother of one with learning difficulties. Yes, Kirsten has got a lot on her emotional plate in terms of trying to get by every day, but she found a way. Her body composition has completely changed. It's not always about weight loss sometimes. Sometimes it's about changing how you look, about reducing body fat slightly, increasing muscle mass or maintaining your muscle mass to increase your basal metabolic rate, which is your metabolism, to allow you to eat more before gaining body fat. And let's face it, that is the dream. That is the dream. Here we have Wade on the right-hand side, lovely Canadian friend of mine. Did this during lockdown. All he could do was bodyweight exercises, and look at his physique right now. Look at his physique right now. He lost 2 stone. Incredible. One thing he did amazingly well was he communicated with me brilliantly. He told me when things didn't work, and if he tells me when things don't work, I can just change them. The whole plan evolves as he did. It's not set in stone. It changes. It has to be progressive, as I've said. But I can only change things if you tell me. Communication, guys, and support. So 7 means of communication. So between email, messaging, phone calls, video trainings, our support group, literally short of me moving into the house with you and your partner, I'm with you every single step of the way. Communication is key. And of course, empathetic support. Empathetic support, getting empathetic support, someone who actually has been there and fully understands. Fully understands. Because I know it's not easy. I had my own struggles. Like, I've had my own struggles in terms of comfort eating. Whenever I was stressed or down, I always turned to food. I always turned to food. And that was something that always held me back. Because if you try and fix your weight by slapping a meal plan on top of comfort eating or slapping a training program on top of comfort eating, well, it's like cutting the head off a weed. It fixes it temporarily. But if you don't get to the root of the problem, well, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back worse. And what happens is when we regain the weight, physiologically, it puts your metabolism through the ringer. And psychologically, well, it's soul destroying. It's soul destroying until eventually you get to a stage in your life when you start to move into a level of acceptance. And that is a dangerous place. If you start accepting your weight for what it is, it means you're not going to change it. And that's going to drastically reduce your length of life and obviously your quality of life as well. And it's my responsibility to break that pattern of thinking. It's my responsibility to show you that you can have so much more. So yes, I can come down pretty hard, but I do it from a place of empathy and from genuinely caring, because I've been there myself. And I understand it's not easy, but all I need is communication and honesty. Accountability. I had a lady yesterday say, I need a good kick up the arse. And that's a nice way of saying accountability. So having someone to answer to can be powerful. Having someone to answer to. One of the first things I ask my new clients to do is to post their 3 whys up on our Inner Circle Behavior Change group. The 3 whys, the 3 reasons to why they want to do this. It means they're writing them in concrete. They're writing them in cement. It means that they can't go back because they're committing to the reasons to why it's so important to invest in themselves and to invest in their future. They look at this as the big picture. The big picture. It's not about just existing, guys and girls. It's about living. It's about genuinely living and enjoying every day. Clarity. Communication support can provide clarity. There is so much conflicting, confusing information all over social media, and we are 1 click away on Google from a heart attack. Okay, 1 click away from making a wrong decision. I'm here to give you clarity as a dietitian, to show you what actually is the truth behind the evidence and to separate the wheat from the chaff. And of course, support. Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, and myself have all got trainers. So I don't think anyone should ever feel they're past the stage of needing a trainer. I certainly don't. I feel I've got a growth mindset, and I hope you do too, which is that I don't believe I know everything. As soon as I believe I know everything, I know nothing. The longer you can be a student, the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to learn. So if these guys need trainers, well, I know I certainly do. And it's my job to push you out of your comfort zone. It's my job to push you out of your comfort zone because our bodies and brains will fight to keep you in it. But once it's actually on a side note, it's the people who come in with the most nerves, the people who were afraid to drop me a message, the people who were afraid to answer the phone at our first call, the people who had those nerves but dived in anyway. They're the people that get the best results. They're the people that get phenomenal results, more than people that just see it as literally like a transaction, as if it's nothing. The people who genuinely are scared but do it anyway, they're the people who get the best results, because they're the people who have pushed themselves out of their comfort zone. They were scared, but they did it anyway. More case studies. Emma. She was on my Instagram, and she probably still is actually, if you look into my transformations highlights reel. And Emma came in for 8 weeks. She lost 8 kilograms. She then went off on her own, continued to lose weight, lost a total of 12 kilograms. I met her a year later, and she continued to lose the weight. She had continued to progress with what I taught her. Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach him to fish and he will feed himself and feed his family for the rest of his life. I'm a firm believer about giving someone the tools to do it themselves. It's more ethical. You don't just have a direct debit with someone every month for a year, 2 years, holding someone's hand. You need to teach them how to do it themselves. Yes, give them a huge amount of support at the start, but teach them to eventually do it themselves. Emma is a perfect example. Emma actually heckled me in the back of a nutrition seminar. She said, I'm never giving up my cakes in the back of the office. I'm like, Emma, you don't need to. You don't need to. I'm not doing that either. Say no to restrictive dieting, because anything that involves diet, and I hate that word, it screams to me short term. It screams to me that it comes with an expiration date, and that is not sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, why start it? If you're going to put effort into changing something, you've got to make damn sure that effort is causing something that is truly sustainable. Because if the results aren't sustainable, what's the point? What is the point? Anastasia, dentist, very, very busy lady, completely changed her physique massively. Cellulite almost completely gone, much more confident in how she looks. And she is so open and honest again. And you can see there's a bit of a trend here. People who are open and honest are the people who get amazing results. And I'll be straight, guys, 5% of the people I work with don't get results. 5% don't. And the only reason they don't get results is because they don't tell me they're struggling. As long as you tell me you're struggling with something, we can change it. Nothing is set in stone. Johnny was a chef, now he's a personal trainer, and you can see why. 8 weeks, unbelievable transformation, unbelievable body composition changes, massively motivated guy, an incredible gentleman to work with. He's had his own personal struggles, but he never let them hold him back. He never let them hold him back. He had his own reasons that made it difficult that I'm not going to share, but when I speak to someone like Johnny and I see what he can achieve despite limitations, despite going against all the odds, it just gives me such a fire in my belly as to why I do what I do, because people don't understand how much more they can have out of life until they get a taste of it. More results. Sarah, CrossFitter, girl from Galway girl on the left-hand side, now is able to do a muscle up. And for those who don't know what a muscle up is, it's when you do a pull-up and then you turn it and you push your body weight up over the bar. An extremely athletic girl, very driven, very thirsty for knowledge, and of course it was my pleasure to help her. Lindsay lost 3 stone. Unbelievable results. Lindsay was someone who carried a lot of her weight in her lower body, so you can see in her hips in particular, she has lost a drastic amount of weight. Again, a CrossFitter, now able to keep up with a lot of the athletes that she once found, were a little bit further ahead of her, and now she's up there with the best. This next person, I'm not going to mention her name. She decided she wanted to keep her name completely identity protected. That's totally cool. But you can see huge differences in her physique. And what's more powerful about this lady on the right is what she's able to do. And I'm not saying up flights of stairs. I mean in terms of things with her grandkids. Play football with her grandson is now one of the things that used to be once in a blue moon. Now it's like every single weekend. And that's what it's all about. Because sometimes our weight affects more than just us. Sometimes it affects the people that we love. So the next step, guys, information without correct methodology for implementation remains only fiction. So, guys, saying I know how to do it, I've done it before. Well, if you haven't been able to sustain it, I would argue that what you've done previously wasn't sustainable. Being able to have the methods of doing things correctly, so they're sustainable, is so important if you really want these results to last. How many years have we been trying it on our own? I never got a PT till I was like 27 and I started losing weight at 16. I see that now as 11 years of wasted progression. 11 years of wasted progression that I could have done so differently if I'd invested into myself to allow myself to come further along the line. I'm a power lifter now, but I would have been so much further ahead in my sport if I just didn't have the ego I had at that age, thinking I knew it all, because I didn't. And the growth mindset is knowing that. I mean, I've invested £50,000 into my education over the last 17 years, from 4 degrees to getting mentors to getting help, because I am literally, there's only one me, so people can take away a house or a car, but they can't take away the things that you learn. They can't take away how you can develop yourself and better yourself. No one can take that away from you. You don't forget this kind of stuff. You don't forget this kind of stuff. So it's why the most important thing in life, in my opinion, is our bodies and minds, because it enables us to truly be there for the people we love, to truly be present, not falling asleep on the couch, to truly be a shoulder to cry on, to truly be there physically up to your 80, 90 years of age. If not now, then when? The best time to plant an apple tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. There's always going to be a reason to delay it or put it off. There's never going to be a right time. But if not now, then when? Where will you be in 6 months' time? 6 months' time, if you're at a crossroads, if you were to ask yourself honestly, if you keep going down the path you're on right now, and as your metabolism decreases as you get older, if you don't address it, if you were to keep gaining body fat, where are you going to be in 6 months' time? If you were to make a change right now and reduce your body fat and feel better in how you look, have more energy, have more sex drive, have better relationships, have a better social life, wear what you want, perform as an athlete, feel like you fit in terms of other people around you who are also into sport or into their training, have the confidence to meet somebody new, have the ability to play with your kids and grandkids, have the focus to perform at your best in work. If you had these things, in what ways would your life be different in 6 months' time? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer that. Be careful where you get the information from. There is so much stuff online that is literally nonsense. We are saturated with nonsense. It is my job to cut through the BS and to give you clarity on what really works and what is evidence-based and what is safe. I swear to God, I heard of a person that had been given advice from a PT, and I'm also a personal trainer as well as a dietitian, by the way, so I'm not against PTs, but the PT had given nutrition advice to a diabetic and told him to cut out carbohydrate. He had a hypo and nearly died. That kind of stuff cannot be brushed under the carpet. It cannot be brushed under the carpet. Excuse me. We need to make sure the information we're getting is sound and from someone who is qualified. I am not a doctor. I am not a surgeon. I would never try and perform spinal surgery. One thing you'll notice, you go into an Irish pub, you say, I want to build a house. You've got everybody in the pub, including the landlord's dog, telling you the best way to build a house. But you'll notice that not one of them will be a builder. It's the same with nutrition. Not one of them is a dietitian. That happens a lot. But as well as that, behavior change is so important, guys. If you were to put a gun to my head and ask me what's more important, it's not about my nutrition degrees. It's about my ability to encourage people to make changes and to not actually let the antecedents of a tough day or a stress day at work lead to the behavior of binge eating. These are the consequence of weight gain and guilt. We can't always control the antecedents, which is your boss giving you shit at work, but we can always control the behavior and how we react to it. Get out. Have a wine on the phone with, not a glass of wine, but have a bitch on the phone with your mother or a friend. Explain what happened, get some fresh air, get a coffee, do some exercise. Then you don't have the consequence of the guilt of the weight gain. That is a taster of behavior change, being able to change behaviors. Don't take my word for it, guys. At the time of this video, I have 137 Google reviews, all 5-star. I'm extremely passionate about what I do. And the reason why I have so many reviews is because everything I do is built around the individual. It's built around the person. It's personalized because people are different. People are different. So read the reviews and see if you can resonate with any of the struggles that those people went through. I do obviously have limited spaces available. I can't clone myself. So do click the button below, and that will enable you to take the first step, in actually making this weight loss sustainable. Lose it once. To be able to wear what you want, to be able to not have to use up any more mental space about worrying about your weight. Take action. Hit the button below. We can hop on a call if you like, or we can just chat over Messenger. Don't mind. You tell me your struggles, and I can diagnose, number one, why you're stuck, and two, whether or not I can actually help you. Either way, if I can't, I can point you in the right direction. But don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck any longer. Ask yourself the real question: if I keep going down this path, where am I going to go to? If I made a positive change today, how much more of a life could I have? What would be different? Because, guys, it's about sustainability. And my mission is to help 1 million people live longer and feel less self-conscious in how they look. And there ain't no reason why you couldn't be one of those people. I hope this helps, guys. If it has, please share it. If it hasn't, well, I tried my very best. And it's been a pleasure speaking to all of you. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. All the best.